Hey, what's up, Spooky fam? Today we are doing a January Letterboxd wrap up, everything we watched in the month of January. Just over 40 movies this month, if you count a couple of shorts that were in there. So if you guys want to follow me on Letterboxd, I will leave it linked down below. If not, all of my other links are linked down below, my main channel, all the fun things. Let's just get right into this because I don't want to keep you here for longer than necessary. So we're going to try and breeze through all 40 plus of these films. Alright, starting off on New Year, I'm gonna put all the reviews here. Starting off on New Year's Day, we watched Mysterious Skin, which will probably stick with me for the rest of my life. That film was brutal, it really was, and I had a feeling it was gonna be brutal for a while, and that's kind of why I kept putting it off. But I don't know, I like bleak films, and this one was bleak. If you guys are gonna go into this one, like, just know it has to deal with like trigger warnings, sexual abuse, childhood trauma, just so much of that. It's kind of a hard watch. Moving on to the 2nd of January, we watched Marrowbone finally, and not a single person told me this film was as sad as it was, but it was a very good ghost story, like a haunted house feeling ghost story. It was so good. A movie that was not good, Eileen. All I have to say about this film was the accents. Anne Hathaway had about 4 different accents throughout this film, and it just took me out of it. I really did not enjoy Eileen, but one that I did enjoy was Satan's Slaves. I don't love jump scares, but every single jump scare in the first Satan's Slaves, it got me. I was just like a little popcorn kernel in my seat. It got me. We finally watched The Deep House, and I didn't like it. It was just a film of ADR. That's how it felt. It was underwater and ADR, and I love underwater horror. Speaking of underwater, keep that in mind because we've got some new videos coming next month. But yeah, I really like underwater. I like water horror in general, and this one just kind of let me down. We have more water horror this month that let me down, you guys probably know. On the 5th though, also, we watched Troll Hunter, and I really liked this film. I really like Andre Orvidal. I like what he did with The Autopsy of Jane Doe. I did not like scary stories to tell in the dark, but I really liked Troll Hunter. It was so cool. On the 6th, we watched Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls finally, and I cannot tell you how much I loved this film. I really did enjoy it throughout the film. Onyx the Fortuitous, he always says, I don't know, and now it's got us just saying that all the time. I really enjoyed it. It was just a lovely film full of heart and right up my alley. But also on the 6th, we watched All Quiet on the Western Front finally. Damn, that movie was good. It was sad though. On the 7th, we watched Upon Entry, which you guys can watch on, I believe it's on Tubi for free. But this is about a couple who get stopped at the border and like detained and questioned, and it's just, oh my god, it's a frustrating watch. So just know it's like a one room kind of one couple of characters, but it's very good. And then after that, we watched The Foot Fist Way, which is Danny McBride, Jody Hill, that whole gang. That humor is not for everybody, like I said in my review, but it's for me. On the 8th, we finally watched Knocking, which I have recommended before, and honestly, that movie is so much better than I thought it was going to be, and I would like to like re-recommend it to you because it's under 80 minutes and it's a solid story. On the 10th, we watched Society of the Snow, which was so good. That movie, I had like such a visceral response to that film because it was told in such a way where it felt like some of the scenes involving like the crash and everything, the plane crash, was so violent and visceral, and it just made me feel like I was having a visceral experience to it. or like a response, and I don't, it was such a good film. It was such a good film. It was about the Uruguayan rugby team. The plane went down. Guys, honestly, just watch the film. It's so good. It's not like a horror film, but I would recommend it. On the 13th, we watched Destroy All Neighbors finally, and in hindsight, I enjoyed this a lot more than I did. And at first, Jonah Ray, Alex Winter kind of led the film, and they were fantastic throughout, but this kind of gave me Psycho Goreman vibes, and Psycho Goreman is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I think that's why I vibed with it so hard. But then on the 13th, we followed that up with The Piano Teacher, and damn, that was a hard watch. It was a very, very good movie, but the ending was just like a gut punch. It just, bleh, you know, like, oh god. On the 14th, we watched Rosemary's Baby about a year after I read the book. I don't know why we waited so long to watch it. We'll rewatch it. I don't feel like I took it seriously the first time I saw it. I feel like I watched it with the wrong group of people. I read the book last year, and it just, we both actually read the book last year, and it just made the movie so much better. It was so true to the story, and it just, I felt like I was reading the book as I was watching the film. It was so good. We also finally watched Possum. That movie was not for me. I don't feel like I didn't vibe with it. If you guys like it, awesome. Just wasn't a film for me, I don't think. But we followed that up with a film called Skinner that Alex picked out, and this one had Ted Raimi, Tracy Lords, Ricky Lake. It was so unhinged, and I loved it. It was so fun to watch. It's literally about a man looking for people to skin, hence Skinner. On the 15th, we watched the short Question and Answer. It's the Safdie brothers like candidly interviewing Adam Sandler after Uncut Gems, and just go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's so good. Jason Bateman makes an appearance. That's also unhinged. Another short that we watched after Question and Answer on the 15th was called Portrait of God on YouTube. I was scrolling TikTok and someone said that that was a disturbing short film, so immediately we went to go watch it. Not for me. Another one, not for me. It's on YouTube though. You guys can check it out. But also on the 15th, we watched Mandy, and I'm not even gonna get into it because a whole video is coming for Cult Horror Movie Week. And then we followed that up with Panos Cosmatos' short from the Cabinet of Curiosities, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, called The Viewing, which, I mean, it was alright. Also on the 15th, we watched another short on YouTube called The Chair. That was another one that I saw people posting about online. That one was decent. I would recommend you check that one out. It's about 15 minutes long, but it's on YouTube. It's about like a haunted chair doing some like time trickery. On the 16th, we watched a film called We Are the Flesh, and I literally keep thinking about it. It disturbed me. It is a film that actually made me upset. And not for like the ways that like you would think. Like, I'm pretty desensitized, but I'm gonna leave our podcast link down below because we kind of went more in depth on the pod about that film. It's just like so much. There's so much unsimulated sex. There's so much. Is it apocalyptic? Is it not? What is happening? I don't get it. I don't get it. There's people, there's things happening. I can't even revisit this one. So We Are the Flesh, just check that one out on your own, but like viewer discretion is advised. On the 17th, we watched a movie called Jugface starring Larry Fessenden, who I'm a huge fan of, but I'll be talking about that also for Cult Horror Movie Review Week, so I'm also not going to get into that. But on the 19th, we watched a short documentary that was on my watch list called Abused by My Girlfriend, and Emma from Spooky Astronauts recommended it on her channel, so we like immediately went and finally watched it, and that was also a hard documentary to watch. It was just really sad. On the 20th, we finally watched From Beyond, and I love From Beyond. As a fan of Reanimator, I loved seeing the whole group there, like the Stuart Gordon group. And as a fan of Suitable Flesh recently, it was just nice to see like the roots of Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs and like Ned. They're still doing things together. Like, sorry, speaking of, was in Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. So good. Okay, on the 20th, we also watched a film called Honeydew, which I feel like could fit in the hexploitation, like old people aging, scary genre, and I'm kind of working on a video about that, but we'll see. On the 20th also, we watched another documentary called The Mole Undercover in North Korea, and damn, that one was crazy. It was just wild. Go in knowing that it's just that one. This documentary, The Mole and Assassins, would be a great double feature. And then on the 20th, we also watched the original Dark Water, which was so good, but also so unbelievably sad. No one also told me how sad that movie was gonna be. On the 21st, we did a wonderful double feature of The Departed, which is one of my favorite films of all time, and which Alex is surprised by, but you know, it's a great film. And we watched Infernal Affairs afterward, which The Departed is based on, and honestly I like The Departed more. In 2020, I watched The Departed one day, and then I just had such a great time watching it that I just put it right back on and watched it from the beginning. So this was like my fourth watch. On the 21st, we also watched a movie called Rebirth, starring Fran Kranz. I'm not going to talk about this one at all either because I will be doing a video for Cult Horror Movie Review Week. And then we also followed that up on the 21st with a film called The Kitchen, directed by Daniel Kaluuya. He was a co-director on it. It was decent. Like, it was just oozing with, like, it felt like it was oozing with, like, young Daniel Kaluuya. On the 22nd, we watched American Nightmare, which is a new Netflix documentary, kind of like the Gone Girl case, which I thought it was gonna be all faked. Crazy how it unraveled. Check it out for yourselves. On the 24th, the other water movie, we watched The Night Swim. Terrible. In my review, I said, honestly, I would have rather have watched a film about a pool that malfunctioned and there was like an accident with the pool malfunctioning, kind of like in Final Destination when the drain like sucked the guy into the drain. I would have rather have seen something like that. I just didn't vibe with The Night Swim. But we finally watched a film called Perpetrator on Shudder, and that was a really solid film. That and another film I will be talking about in an upcoming video, but this film, Club Zero, starring Mia Wasikowska, that we watched on the 26th, that felt like it could be a cult film. It felt like that was a cult. That was definitely a cult. You cannot tell me that wasn't a cult. It was about a teacher, quote unquote, who gets these kids involved in a group where they stop eating in order to achieve being a member of the Zero Club, where you just don't eat anymore. And oh my gosh, there's a scene involving vomit and eating vomit. As someone with, I'm working on it, but my emetophobia gets bad sometimes. That film, I was triggered. I felt grossed. I felt scared. But the other film that I'm going to be talking about in an upcoming video, oh my gosh, is a film called Beaten to Death, which if you guys want like a gory, like relentless gory film that makes you feel like you need a shower after watching it, check that one out. So that was the 27th. We also, on the 27th, finally watched Downfall. And like I said in my review, how great it was to watch the quote-unquote great fall, because that was just, it was like watching madness ensue, and like, you know what happens, like having, like, being through history classes and like we know the outcome, but watching like the descent into madness before the outcome was wild. Bruno Ganz he sold that role so well. And then on the 28th, Alex finally made me watch Schindler's List because I had never seen it, and I don't want to talk about it. It was upsetting, it was sad, but I was so surprised that Ben Kingsley and if you guys watch the pod, I call him Ralph and Yes, but Ray Fiennes, I was so surprised that they were in it, but they captivated me in that film. I enjoyed watching those two more than I enjoyed watching Liam Neeson, to be honest. And then to wrap up the month, on the 28th, we also watched Godless, the Eastfield Exorcism. If you're gonna watch this film, look up the true story behind, like, don't write this film off like I was about to as like a shitty exorcism film, because it's way more than that. Like, look into the true story, find out what happened to this girl in real life, and then watch the film, because it is just upsetting. It is straight upsetting. And then we finally ended the month with watching Satan Wants You, the documentary. Now, I was expecting, like I said in my review, I was expecting I wanted like a timeline of like how the music influenced things. Like, I wanted more of like the Tipper Gore Fuck Like a Beast you know, like the Wasp album. Like, I wanted that. I wanted to see that. I wanted to like see the things that were happening, but it followed a story of like a woman who was using the Satanist and like cult aspect of things. We have scratches from outside. That sounds heavy. It's probably Ginger. Anyways, it was a woman who like used that with a doctor to fabricate things and to like make things worse than they already were. I don't know, check it out. Check it out for yourself. Go in with like no expectations like I did, because I feel like I was expecting something that I didn't get. But whatever, it's fine, I digress. We've also started finally watching Succession, and we are very late to the game, but that's where a lot of our time towards the last few days of the month went to. We watched all of season 1. We're on season 2 now. God damn, it's a good show. So on that note, I will see you guys very soon. We've got so much to catch up on. We have so much happening, and I hit the ground running this month, or this year, I should say, with this channel, and I hope that you guys are noticing that. Check out my Larry Clark video essay. It was such a long time in the making video, but on that, I will see you guys very soon. Sayonara, Spooky fam.